After our dive on the Yamatsu Maru, we headed down through Malakal Harbor and anchored over the helmet or depth charge wreck for the night. After dinner, Brian, Patrick, and I did a night dive.
It's almost dark when we drop down on the helmet wreck. We land next to the aft cargo hold and go inside. This hold is full of depth charges tossed around by a 1,000-pound bomb dropped by an aircraft from the U.S. carrier Enterprise on March 30, 1944. This attack was called the Desecrete 1 air raid, and the U.S. Navy sunk 68 Japanese merchant ships, including this one. These depth charges are still full of high explosives, but they're not armed with their detonators. I've come to the starboard or right side where the hull plates have been blown off. Heading towards the stern and the exposed ribs. Now I turn towards the port or left side of the wreck. I reach the port hull and turn right, facing forward. Up to the ceiling with the deck on the other side. Down past piles of depth charges and stacks of Japanese helmets. This is a large piece of machinery with a case of grenades sitting on it, up to a shelf and to the forward bulkhead. Up and over the machinery to one of my buddy's lights, and down to another stack of Japanese helmets. They're oozing a bright red substance. Is it blood or chemicals leaking from a depth charge? I think the latter. Up to another stack of helmets and a crumpled detonator case. And Brian has come in for a look around. Now along the ceiling, up to one last depth charge, and up and out. Behind the hold is a large winch with a skillet sitting on it. This is a boot with no Japanese soldier attached to it, and a leather bullet cartridge holder for a belt. Behind the winch is the aft mast. Over to the blasted hull plates, and under the stern poop deck where the bomb landed, and up to the ceiling where winged oysters covered by red sponge and zigzag clams live. Above the ceiling is the poop deck. Over to a grenade box with a broken rifle and gas mask inside. The next grenade box has a landmine in the corner, another gas mask, and I'm not sure what this circular object is. Here's another rifle. Next to the first box is a sleeping parrotfish. Now I found a rifle cartridge. This would make a very good souvenir, but I left it behind for another diver to steal. Behind the boxes is the stern gun lying on its deck platform. Now I'll look inside its barrel. Back along the barrel and to an unopened box that has unknown contents, and the other grenade boxes. This is a red-fin cardinal fish. I follow the flagpole lying over the stern and to the rudder post with a zigzag clam attached to it. A light silhouettes the flagpole as I blow some air and drop over the stern. Past white whip coral, a type of black coral. little bit of golden black coral, and the rudder comes into view. I follow it down and it disappears into the bottom. Now I move up the starboard hull, up past buckled plates that sank her. My light finds a pair of Moorish idols. Now some wire coral covered by red sponge. Up and over to the missing decking, and I look down into the rooms below. This is part of the inner passageway. Our dive guide said that this was the boiler, but in reality it's a 3-chamber steam engine. Lots of wires and pipes in this room. These gears are sitting on what I believe is the boiler because it's round. And I think this is the coal exhaust covered with red sponges. Sitting on some green coral is a land mine, and it can be activated on either side. I notice that it still has this blue paint. An orange scallop sits on the bottom. I should have touched it and taped it swimming away. Now I'm swimming over more rooms. And this is a saddled grouper. Very brilliant at night. Now I drop into the below deck corridor and move forward. With its belly to the wall is a 6-banded angelfish, and it's blinded by my light. Now down along the once wooden floor, and the rivets are showing. Up the wall, and outside to an air vent. And Patrick, a zigzag clam with a brilliant necklace sea star on it. Now I've come across the funnel base, and I look down inside. Hey, this thing looks big enough for me to fit into, so I drop down fins first, about 10 feet into the stack, and look back up at Patrick, who's wondering, what the heck am I doing? It was good for me. Now up and out and into hole number 2, that's midship and also full of depth charges. Here's an open depth charge. These depth charges are a little more orderly than in the hole number 3. Red chemicals seeping out of this one. Now I'm going to swim over bales of metal rings for an unknown Japanese cause. These are piles of depth charge detonators. wood paneling is missing off of the hull's ribs. Heading forward is a large cargo winch between holes number 1 and 2. Then the main mast. In front of the mast is another winch serving hole number 1, and it's full of fighter aircraft engines. I look down inside, but I'm too far away from the others to go down in, so I turn around and check out some rooms behind the bridge on the port side. This room has a hatch in the floor to the bilge. Now, is this the back of a human skull? It's lying on the floor in the next room, and I only noticed it on playback of this tape. Another hole goes way down to the bilge below. Now through more doors and passageways on my way back towards the stern. I'm wondering where my buddies are. Now I'm panning along the ceiling, and it's time to head out. And I see another cardinal fish below some black coral, but it's hiding from me. A dot-dash goatfish sits on the deck. We're getting low on air, and it's time to go up. We're decompressing at 10 feet. We had a maximum depth of 93 feet, a total dive time of 36 minutes, nitrogen in the caution zone. Hey, this was a great dive, and now we can relax for the rest of the evening on the Eclipse.